Welcome to One-on-One with Expert Flyer. I'm your host, Lisa Caslin, and today we're bringing back one of our favorite guests, Chris Lopinto, who is the co-founder and president of Expert Flyer. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you, Lisa. Great to be here.
Good. So I know that you just completed your second annual summer travel survey. How did that go?
Went great, actually. We had a great response from our customers. They were very opinionated, and we got some really interesting data back.
Yeah. I took a look at some of the data, and there was a few things that we wanted to talk to you about. One of which was this notion that folks are really focusing on cost and value as a key factor in deciding where they want to go. So if we look at that from an air travel perspective, which airlines do you think are kind of best poised to meet that criteria right now?
Um, I, I would say that the airlines that don't try to nickel and dime you with fees. I mean, nowadays consumers are very cost conscious, so anything that the airlines can do to avoid, basically doubling the ticket price in fees would be good. Whether it's change fees, cancellation fees, seat fees, things like that. So look for airlines that are the most fee adverse, especially international, or if you're war ticket, fuel surcharge fees, things like that. Southwest has always been good. JetBlue to an extent as well. So those are the things to watch out for.
Okay, so I guess you just mentioned Southwest. So do you think this cost value demand is giving wider berth, competitive berth to some of these guys like Southwest, Norwegian, Iceland Air over some of the legacy carriers like American and Delta?
Oh, absolutely, especially in markets that have been underserved. I mean, Norwegian and Iceland came in, and are definitely focusing on different markets that have been traditionally served by U.S. flag carriers before. So, if they can do it at a lower cost point, at a better value proposition point, if you will, for the American consumer, then there's definitely something new to be had there. Because nowadays the legacy carriers are really starting to look all like in their frequent flyer programs and their fees. So it's very hard to differentiate between them on a value basis. So yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Cool. So a third of those surveyed said that, we all know terrorism is, it's in our lives, right? And a third said that they took greater precautions over the last 12 months than they ever have before. We also saw that they were open to enrolling in some kind of a biotech identification program at airports if it meant reducing wait times at security checkpoints. Was that surprising to you?
No, not at all. I mean, people are really pissed off, especially when it comes to TSA lines. There was that fiasco at O'Hare in Chicago not too long ago, where there was multiple hour wait lines, and that's just unacceptable. It's bad enough the way the airlines, treat you sometimes, but having it at the airport is just the last straw. So anything that people can do to make it less painful is definitely, it's always been the case that they would go for that, especially nowadays where in the app ecosystem with their smartphones, people give up personal information all the time.
Hmm.
So they're really used to giving up a measure of privacy for convenience already. So it's
Hmm.
probably it's a increasing trend over time that people are willing to do whatever it takes to get the convenience that they want.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about one of your favorite subjects, loyalty programs. When we looked through the data, we saw that I guess something along the lines of 65% said that they were able to redeem points for travel, right, which is great, over the past 12 months, yet nearly half said their ability to redeem awards declined in the past 12 months. So it's sort of like, okay, yeah, we were able to do it, but then some of them thought, well, maybe it wasn't quite as good as it had been. So what do you make of that?
Right. The issue is that they're not able to redeem them at the saver level like they once were. There's always awards available at higher redemption levels, but then it requires more miles or points, and that's the trade-off. The airlines, figured out that just offering, awards at saver levels, the lowest levels, isn't always that lucrative. So if they can make you think that there's always something available, but kind of hide where, how much it's actually going to cost you. Delta being the absolute worst offender in this. I mean, they've gone to the extreme step of removing their award chart from their website.
Mm,
So, we still think that there's still 5 different award levels on Delta, but they won't exactly tell you exactly how many miles it should be for a given award level for a given, from X to Y flight,
mm-hmm,
which is very anti-consumer, frankly, but also removes the aspirational aspect of what the loyalty
mm,
program was supposed to be.
mm-hmm,
So yeah, you can always redeem your miles. The question is at what price point, if you will, or mile price point. So if you're willing to spend 50% 2 times the miles, you can do it. But the question is,
mm,
does that represent a good value to you? So
yeah.
that's the problem nowadays.
Okay, got it. Well, speaking of Delta, it looks like Delta was voted the favorite in this survey, and United was the least favorite in your poll. And American came in number 2 as both the favorite and the least favorite. So, why do you think travelers have this love-hate relationship with American Airlines?
Right. Well, liking the airline is different than liking the loyalty program. The American Advantage program has always been a very pro-consumer loyalty program, whereas the other programs, like for example, the Delta Sky Miles program, has been this is our world. You're just living in it. You don't like our changes, too bad. But then again, the Delta onboard product has always been very good. So it depends upon if you're looking at it from a point of view of the flying experience or the loyalty experience, which aren't always necessarily the same thing. Also, American just went through the merger with US Air, and now they're playing catch up in terms of changing their program, that's a whole other thing. But changing their program, but also upgrading the onboard experience, right? So they have all these legacy US Air aircraft that aren't up to the standard of the legacy American Airlines aircraft. So it's going to take a while for them to upgrade the U.S. Air old aircraft to be up to the standard that we expect of America nowadays. So it depends on what aspect you're looking at. But
Okay.
those who are really want a good, strong loyalty program, American is pretty good. Those that just care about what it's like on board the aircraft, Delta is pretty good. So it depends upon what they look for.
Okay, got it. All right. So, if you had to name one key takeaway for the travel industry based on the results of the survey, what would it be?
I would say that the actions of the airlines and how they've changed the frequent flyer programs, and with the just announced change with Americans, they're just kind of following the leader. We're actually kind of disappointed. We thought there was an opportunity for American to really be innovative,
Mm,
and instead they're mainly just copied what Delta and United
mm,
have done. But
mhm,
that being said, is that the whole point of frequent flyer programs when American Airlines first created them, 30 odd years ago, was to engender loyalty. But they're basically turning into a rebate program. It's spend X amount of money, get X amount of miles back. And even executives in Delta had said that we want you to be able to just use Sky Miles as currency, and based on their experiments, it looks like they're looking for a currency exchange rate of 1 mile equals 1 penny, which is if you ask any frequent flyer, it's actually a really horrible exchange rate.
yeah.
So, I mean, if that's the ultimate evolution of turning a frequent flyer program into a rebate program, then that destroys any sense of loyalty, right? There's no engendering of loyalty because there's
Mhm,
no rewarding. I mean, I can use a credit card and get 1% cash back.
right.
I don't need to be loyal to an airline to do that. It doesn't make
Mhm,
sense.
mhm,
And the ironic part of it is that the airlines for the last 10 years have been fighting against commoditization of their product, but by destroying their loyalty program, all they have left is commoditization of their product, where it's any airline can get you from A to B, presumably safely. The question is then is the difference now a loyalty program, or is the difference now what movies do they have in the back of the seat, or what snacks do they have on board, which is
yeah.
almost incidental.
Right.
We would really want to see something innovative in frequent flyer programs that go back to enjoying, to engendering loyalty instead of just rewarding spend and basically treating it as a rebate. So that's
Okay. All right. So before we let you go, one last question. Do you have any secret advice or insight into trends circulating around travel this summer? Anything you want to add?
Well, traffic is going to be at an all-time high this summer, passenger traffic. So book early. Don't wait till the last minute.
Okay.
And make sure you get to the airport early, because even though they're trying to make the TSA wait times better, it's still going to be tough. Join the pre-check program if you can. Also, here's a tip: the global entry program,
Yeah.
which costs only $20 more for 5 years than TSA pre-check, allows you to expedite through immigration and includes TSA pre-check for free. So if you do any kind of international travel, then sign up for global entry, and it'll make your not only checking into the airport but coming back into the United States a lot easier, take away a lot of those hassles and time constraints. So just plan ahead.
Okay.
The flip side is that if you don't care where you go or when you go, and you're just looking for a deal, a lot of what airlines will do is they will release on non super busy routes. They will release award inventory, maybe a few days before the day of departure. So if you're just looking for a quick weekend getaway and you're flexible, and it's a last minute thing, then there could be some deals to be had, especially for redeeming miles and points. But
Cool.
if you have to go to a specific place at a specific time, book early, plan ahead. That's usually the best way to do it.
Okay, great. And if folks want to read more, learn more about the survey, they can visit ExpertFlyer.com and check out the blog, and all that great information will be listed there, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, listen, thanks so much for your time again. It was great to see you, Chris.
Thank you, Lisa.
Okay, bye-bye.